Call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for divanarchy, and interface with a couch in space. Welcome to Space Couch. I'm always happy to be back in space. I'm not back in space because I never leave because I'm in this cosmic prison and every moment is waking hell. But I get to talk to great bands, so it all evens out. Before we get to that, I want to talk to our advertisers, or at least speak to their interest, because they do keep fuel in our fuel tanks and coffee in the egregious amounts of coffee that we brought into space. That's why I'm always drinking coffee. Like we have, it didn't work out like a flight path back or anything like that. Just all I gotta do is just drink this coffee, and then we'll have space for the return flight. But until then, let us get into our brand new advertiser this week. It's Tiger Squawk Records. You want to check out the brand new release from Same Story. Lamentations is the name of the album. Eternus Memoria, 84 tracks on this thing. Leather Stripper, Summer 23. Isserly dropped Sad Girls Club Volume 6, amazing remixery. The Nightsicles, that's me and Nightstop out of Finland. You want to check out Doodad, the new single from Duckbag. Also Amalgamated Cadaver live, that's our noise project with me and Defly D. Echo Bot, the new single from Grasp Logic out of Seattle, followed by Landscape Body Machine. FLA's keyboard player dropped the new single. All of the Gothic Species, the new festival song from the Gospels. Dr. Lovecraft's Dating Sim, the new side project from Leah Synesthesia. Distortion versus Tiger Squawk. Proceeds go to benefit Ukraine. And the new Noise album from Israel. She has just been on fire. And speaking of fire, ladies and gentlemen, we have had some wonderful, obviously audio-based guests on here, and some people in the realm of cinema or movie craft as well. We are now combining those two spheres for fusion nuclear fire, or we'll figure out how that's even theoretically happening. Matter and antimatter meet right now. Please welcome our guest. Yes. This is the ditch. What's going on, everybody?
Hello.
Hey. Okay. So, tell us your names and where you are on Earth there.
Well, I'm Trevor. I'm in San Diego.
All right.
About a half a mile from my ditch.
Jesse from Rockford, Illinois.
Awesome.
Hawk from Rockford, Illinois.
Oh man, so we are spanning the globe. I have a terrestrial base in Boston, but this couch in space is my lunar lair. Made that work. Didn't think I was gonna pull it out. But while I am chilling way up in the air, you guys are about 4 to 6 feet cubic feet into it in a ditch-like fashion, because we're talking about the ditch. Is it a okay? Your copy on the if you look it up, The Ditch is a music film. So is that like a music video carried into the film format? What's the concept?
Oh boy. Looking up the video guy for this one.
Well, yeah, Mike's the video guy, so Mike needs to explain what a film is.
Okay. All right. Well, but as far as you interpret it, is The Ditch a band, or is it this piece of work, or how would you describe at least how the concept first formulated and what it is now?
Okay.
I thought I answered the first question and you guys hit the rest.
Okay.
So we titled this project HENT, HENT, Hawk, because it really is a project that highlights what the three of us do. The piece is called The Ditch, and it's a 40-minute music film. It's not a music video. You know,
Okay.
a music video is to promote music in the CD and sell the CD. And nowadays, you give away music videos on YouTube, and I think that devalues the product.
Okay.
So what this is one continuous piece that Jesse and Mike put together. It layers multiple copies of video of Jesse playing crazy industrial percussion in a ditch. It's actually, I looked it up, it's called a culvert.
Oh, nice.
I layered my percussion and electronics on top of what Jesse and Mike did, and I did it in my own ditch, and it's actually a railroad underpass that goes under a cement bridge. So we got some crazy acoustics, we got some industrial percussion.
Wow, okay.
80s, 90s industrial percussion, and some electronics, but it's one continuous piece. So rather than calling it a music video, we could call it a short film, but if you look it up, a short film maxes out at exactly 40 minutes. We're at 40 minutes, 40 seconds.
Oh, man.
That makes it a music film.
Added, bonus value added. Amazing. Let's take... there's a lot to unpack there. First of all, I didn't know we were bi-ditchular. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Because there's only one is advertised, and then you get it, and you're like, "What? Another ditch? Two for the price of one?" That's amazing. I've had the privilege of watching this, but let's cut to a clip for you at home. There, I should say, if you're seeing this now. As far as my sensors indicate, we hit another temporal rift here in space. So while we are obviously living in our present, it may be a day or two in your past as you're viewing it. Signals get warped in space. You know, they take a long time to get there, wrong turn, and they fall into ditches. Sometimes it's a mess. So as far as we can tell, we are a day in your past. But that brings us to our present, and presently we are going to gift you, with this clip of The Ditch. Sometimes they got to touch the space controllers when their magical space Bluetooth controller craps out.
Sometimes you got to touch the space controller.
Sometimes you got to use your hands. It's a baby's game. Yes. So that was just a teensy weensy tiny bit of taste of The Ditch, because you said something really, really interesting that I wasn't expecting, which is I'm not sure if I should call this a social marketing or even financial approach, because I wasn't expecting you to challenge the model of buying for me, my whole life, it was you go to Best Buy and you buy a CD, and hopefully they make a video out of the song you like on MTV, and you just sort of get that. And now with YouTube, I think people are angry if they don't just get all this stuff for not only for free, but right the F now while I'm waiting in line at the Star Market, or if you're not in Boston, whatever you have. So The Ditch, we can acquire that. CDs and DVDs are available. Yeah.
Correct.
Fantastic. Where should people go to do that?
Everything's on Bandcamp.
Fantastic.
So you can buy the CD, the DVD, the USB stick. We've got something that it was inspired by Jesse called the Library Edition, which comes with it's a thumb drive, and it comes with a drum key because everyone needs a drum key.
Yes.
And it gives you permission to show it in clubs if you want, which is kind of cool. So
Genius.
That's
yes.
what this is. All this is on Bandcamp. So the deal is you buy a tangible product, whatever that is, and you get your Bandcamp download, and you get access to the video, the 40-minute video online. For those who are okay with Amazon, and just to put it out there, we're both pissed off at Spotify and Amazon right now for some reason. But the CDs and DVDs, not the USB sticks, but those two are on Amazon.
All right.
There
so, a lot to not only unpack metaphorically, but physically you get a lot of shit. So you want to, yeah.
Well, I'll hit that really quickly because
let's hit that.
Jesse and Mike created this idea, and they came up with the title, The Ditch, and they're like, do whatever you want with it. And I'm like, I love this project. I'm going to do some crazy stuff. And then when we're done, I'm like, we need to do something tangible with this. I don't want to just put it on YouTube. That's a complete waste.
Right.
But how about we do a CD? And Jesse's like, yeah, totally. How about we do a DVD? And Jesse's like, yeah,
hell
totally.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I'm like, Mike, you got any thoughts on this? Jesse's like, no, go full speed ahead. Full speed ahead. I'm like, okay, well, we're doing everything then.
Okay,
so,
we gotta pump the brakes there for a second because we're getting so far ahead. Which is great because I'm excited, but like what I'm bringing is Jesse and I obviously know each other from touring and playing together. You are, of course, the percussionist, both in the sense of superlative and being the percussionist for Conformco and. But you guys, the other two people in the virtual room here, I'm just meeting now along with you at home. So how did you all come to work together, and what inspired? I'm learning now, I guess, Jesse, to say like, we should all bang shit in a ditch and then send it to each other and remix it, and then I need a little superhero origin story if you could on this one.
Okay, so originally with this, Mike and I. We did a year or two before that. We did Trevo's hipster haunted hang.
Okay.
And I enjoyed it so much.
That's like an album that we pick up.
Back around, I got a hold of them just to ask, like, hey, can we do something for this again?
Okay.
I only had a couple days to even get every bit of what Mike and I had to do because I was leaving for shows. Mm-hmm. So after I got back, and then Trevor let me know about like, oh, this is great. I like this. And I was just like, okay, well, originally it was supposed to be filmed for a one-night show.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And it ended up, morphing into something a lot bigger than that. So that. Lots of fun.
Fantastic.
So,
was there anything that I've had that has gone into like the astral plane, Space Couch notwithstanding? There's always a moment where I'm like, okay, I thought I was just going to like fuck around and do this for like one gig or like show it to my wife and then, throw it away. Was there a moment when it turned where you're like, oh, this is kind of awesome. We should hold on to this.
Trevor brought that up.
Oh yeah,
we just made it for his one night show thing, and he's like, "No, dude, this is way too cool for that." Which that's whatever. Okay.
So
and we just built this thing off a small project that we were going to do.
It was just sort of in the ether. I love it. So everybody sort of brings their own pieces, physical sometimes in the form of rebar or just experience. Let's start with the audio. How would you describe the sound, if you will, of the ditch, and how would it compare to something like Conform Co, just because that's what I know you most from.
Not really anything at all like Conform Co.
Okay.
This is like, I don't know how we would want to portray this, like a new Bowden kind of sound with like some electronics, but most of the stuff was organic, like just tons of different metal stuff. I kept finding things and I would load it in with my car, coming to mics and be like, okay, we're going to use sheet metal and sewer grates, and I had so much random stuff that eventually I started just getting power tools just to be able to make another sound now.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah, I'd describe this as sort of classic industrial.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
So it was, if you look back in sort of the mid 80s,
Right.
banging on stuff, power tools, and then it's like, hey, let's throw a 707 acid
right
thing on top of there, and that's the general aesthetic.
That's really cool.
There's something that's so unique about this, and I put this back on Jesse and Mike, which was the basic aesthetic is you always hear Jesse playing like two things, or maybe more than two things. And then on the video, you kind of see one or two things. And so I copied that idea and I'm like, well, what can I add to this? It doesn't need more sheet metal. It certainly doesn't need more chainsaws. There's plenty of that. Okay, well, I'm going to go with
chainsaw polyphony.
I'm going to go with, a drum and a rattle and maybe some more traditional stuff. And then I'm going to put some structure on it. Jesse already added some cool samples in there, and I'm going. You can never have too many voice samples, so let's put those in there. And then the last piece was, there's only two things I play in this that are what I would call industrial percussion. One is a antenna that I found in my ditch. I think it fell off a train, and I'm smashing it on the cement pole. And then I found some of these. Railroad spikes, and I'm like, well, that's kind of cool. So I'm banging the railroad spikes together, and other than that, everything I'm doing was intended to complement what Jesse and Mike had already put together.
So Jesse and Mike, you guys were essentially live, and then Trevor, you basically soundtracked it like a movie, right?
Yeah, and it was an interesting collaboration. Like they sent me this thing that it's very industrial. It's hard sometimes to go, okay, is there a tempo or is it Jesse just in his mind with Mike figuring out how to put it all together? And so what I did is I took the track, put it on my little portable player, put it in my in-ears, and I went down to the train tracks, and I'm like, let me see if I can play with,
cool.
Banging on drums, whatever. And that intro,
we're biditular. I forgot about that.
That was the first take that I did. I'm down on the train tracks. I'm listening to Jesse play, and I'm like, okay, what can I add to this?
So you were really in it. Like you brought stuff down to train track. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I love that because it's like I'm watching this thing going like, what year is it? Like
I put it in 1989.
All right.
Right there. That's the aesthetic. Yeah.
Right. But I thought I saw this shit from 1989. So like now because it's like it is 80s industrial, meaning not this super clean synthwave like laser grid background thing. Like somebody get up and adjust the tracking on the VCR and so I can I kind of know what this is, but it also feels like that Meat Beat Manifesto. Like, what does industrial music sound like? I don't know, power tools and shit, right? Like just this kind of figuring it out, with like hints of we know what the fuck we're doing, obviously. But yeah, basically, I'm advocating you at home. Let me burp into the mic. I'm advocating you at home to go get yourself a copy, CD, DVD, or library super pack available. But it had this sort of like if not only were like those Canon movies from the 80s and early 90s like nuts, there was this air of inaccessibility or like weirdness or like mystery around it. Like, I don't know what the fuck this is, but like, let's put it in the VCR, which that's sort of the marketing campaign, if that's the right word to use, for the ditch was really interesting. Like, I just sort of got a link from Jesse, and you're like, is this a band? What is this? Assuming that was intentional. Like, where was that coming from?
What is this?
Yeah. Like, was it just trying to like ape a sense of foreboding, or that weird like pre-YouTube, here's a VHS tape I found kind of like passive. Yeah. Right. Hey guys. So
well, that's a good thing to hit right there, which is you go back to the 80s and you go, okay, I did this cool music video. How do I share it? And this is what we used to do. It's like, okay, I got 4 VHS decks. Let's make 4 copies at a time. Take them to our gig and sell them on the merch table. Well, now we have 2 problems, which is, one, how do you distribute a music video without losing its value?
Okay.
Distribute something that's 40 minutes long, that's a video, without losing its value.
Oh, wow.
And the last piece in this is we're all in lockdown. We're not doing shows. Yes. We don't have a merch table. Everyone's putting out stuff for free on SoundCloud and YouTube. And, you know, as I mentioned, everyone's pissed off at Spotify. It's a mess. The whole scene, as far as distributing a cool 40-minute film, is a mess.
It's a mess.
And so this is where we went back and forth, and I'm like, you know, how about we do this? And so often with bands, you get, well, that's stupid. That's lame. How about we do this other thing? And what I loved about this collaboration was, as I mentioned, Jesse's like, yeah, let's go. Or, yeah, we're gonna go do a show. We're going down to Texas. We're going to Colorado. We're going to Seattle. And I'm like, well, I got to load you up with merch. So CDs, DVDs, thumb drives, 3 different versions of thumb drives. And then the last piece was, what is the most tangible thing that we can sell? I don't want to put a QR code on a business card. That's about as lame as you can get. Well, let's put QR codes on railroad spikes.
Let's do that thing.
Convince people to buy 2 and bang them together.
Oh, that's amazing.
I shipped a bunch of railroad spikes out to Jesse with some stickers and some heat shrink, and he made his spikes to take to his gig. And, you know, it turned out to be, yeah, sort of intentional, but also it's a statement about how do you distribute media in this modern industry.
I love that answer. Like, you need that veil a little bit, like
underground media.
Hell yeah. That's really smart. God, such a good answer. I hold in my hand an internet spike. This is the dopest thing that ever showed up in the mail. I'm like, did Jesse send me a railroad spike? Oh, literally he did. Is this a beast and a half to ship? You gotta take out a second mortgage on a home. I can't imagine shipping those around. How did that idea? I mean, was that it? Like, you just decided, like, we can't just have this lame laminate or whatever. How'd you land on spikes? Was it just availability?
Well, first off of that, I mean, like with the spike, you can't scratch it and it won't get eaten up. So
there you go.
There's a good deal.
Hell yeah. It's like this
comes out of real ditch experience.
Okay.
You know, I was down in the ditch recording, trying to finish this project because, you know, Jesse and Mike put a huge amount of work into it. And I'm like, okay, I've been sitting on it now for 2 or 3 months. So I'm trying to track every day. I go down to the ditch. It's pouring rain. I find 2 railroad spikes. So I'm coming back from my ditch. I'm carrying my drum, which is like 60 pounds, my guitar amp, my camera, microphone, and I realized I'm carrying an extra like 8 pounds in railroad spikes through the rain. And I'm like, what is more tangible than a railroad spike?
It's just the heft. It's just it's nice.
So
you know?
I immediately went on the internet and I'm like, where can I buy railroad spikes? Because I
how do I get on a list?
Guy in Ohio that's like, I got a barrel of railroad spikes.
Yeah.
Like, ship half to Jesse and half to San Diego. Let's go.
There's the sample right there. I got a barrel of railroad spikes. Hell yeah! So, in terms of the actual video craft of it, like, what are sort of some of the emotional, if I can even go there, decisions to how to pair a certain piece of video with a certain piece of audio? Is that just all instinct, or is that, or there are sort of more conscious decisions made?
Mike,
I don't know. I just set up a bunch of cameras
Mm-hmm.
and just recorded everything. And I use these Zoom cameras, and they have great audio.
Okay.
And I just took all that and found out the best angles and just whatever I could find. And I took the audio and just straightened it all out and just mashed everything together.
Okay.
I didn't do too much work on the audio at all.
Mm-hmm. Oh, really?
It's just straight whatever went into the camera because I love these things.
Are you a video editor by trade?
No, I'm an electrician by trade, but I do video production stuff for myself, and
okay, cool.
I used to do live video projections for bands.
Oh, okay, awesome.
Which is kind of how I met Jesse.
Right.
Because I met Jesse through Jim Marcus.
Awesome. Guest of the show.
So, saw that somewhere. So it's just, and the guy lives 2 miles from me now. I had to go all the way to Chicago to meet a guy who lives 2 miles from me. That's small town Rockford right there.
There you go. Well, awesome. I love it. Yeah, it looks really cool. Obviously, we could tell it wasn't your first rodeo. I was just curious what the background there was.
I'll compliment Mike on this. I mean, when I saw this video, I'm like, not only is it cool, but it is so unique what they initially sent me.
Mm-hmm.
He did this great layering of Jesse playing two different things at the same time with some really nice ghosting, where if you're listening and you hear something like Jesse's shaking this rattle and you're like, where in the video? Where in the video is that guy shaking the rattle?
It's pretty
it's
great.
this tiny little ghost off to the side. And so when I did my video, I copied Mike. I'm like, I'm getting two of those same cameras that I used. I set them up across the railroad tracks, one kind of near, one kind of far, and I'm going to do the same thing. Ghost video the same way Mike did.
Double ghost. Ghost.
All the ghosts.
Exactly.
You thought you're going to be like, I'm just going to get this cool video.
In these two spaces at the same time, but each space has ghosts. It's such a cool and unique aesthetic.
Now we're going into Ghost Cubed. Ghost Cubed. That's because cubes are obviously in 3 dimensions. The ditch implies sort of that perspective coming at you off the screen into your eye holes and your ear holes and your mouth holes. If you're freaky, you could do that with the spike, I suppose. I'll get Barbara Walters for a second. If fit the ditch into the Star Wars universe, like, is this like a Rancor destroying everything in its path, or is it like Luke's hand because it's sort of merging the flesh with organic sonically? Like, where would you Star Wars this movie?
Luke's cutoff hand falling.
Yeah.
Because it's gonna be banging around.
Yeah. Okay. You heard it here first. The ditch is the sound of a human hand falling down an exhaust pipe in a cloud city. Like, I mean, it's kind of well covered ground, I suppose. I'm kidding. What? That's the best answer ever. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. You should do. You can have that for shirts, like the sound of a severed human hand falling down a well, or however you want, a cybernetic well, or however you want to do it.
Let's call it Star Battles, though. I don't want to get sued.
All right. Yeah. Well, just a human hand. It doesn't need. You could have this in parentheses. Not necessarily Luke Skywalker's hand. Little long for the shirt, but KMFDM had that one shirt in the 90s with like a book on it, whatever. The ditch as we have it, is that something we might see performed or re-performed?
Oh, I think that I definitely think that this could be a performance that we could actually do live, all depending on a couple things. I mean, Trevor and I have talked about a couple of these things before, and it's like just trying to figure out how you would do it. Considering, like, for me, I had like 2 samplers and like an Olympus little handheld recorder that I had like tons of these samples on, which cost like $10 at Walmart. And I was like, man, this is so neat, because like going from all these different aspects of doing like scratch cans or any of that stuff, like I had a Casio keyboard connected to my chest, and then the other samplers, which just
is that all it is?
For me to just be like, I don't know exactly what I'm coming into the beginning starting as. So I was like, okay, sample, long sample, looped sample, start banging on stuff.
Okay. So, I mean, yeah, obviously, you wouldn't play it like it's notation with like sheet music and you're like, oh, bang, bang, crash, bang, 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 but yeah, recapturing not only the visual but audio approach. Like, is it just going to be all backing tracks or something? But yeah, I mean, you could figure it out. Maybe set up some.
No. It's all layering.
It's all layered.
It comes from what Mike and Jesse originally did, which is at any point in time, there's 2 Jessies and 2 Trevors, and then this amazing visual thing that Mike brought together. So that's what HENT Talk is. And to do that live, yeah, we'd have to think about it for a moment, but you want to capture that raw industrial feel when a person isn't playing it and without it being a backing track.
Right.
And we could do that with loopers. Jesse's got 2 loopers, I've got 2 loopers, and somehow Mike is capturing live video and ghosting people together. The technology is there, and I think we could do it, and we could do it in a very cool way. The question is, do we want to put our energy into a live show, or do we want to do Ditch Part 2 or whatever it's called, where we do another music film, or do we do both?
Well, let's get into that, because
we're all headed to Seattle next week, so hopefully
you guys are doing that Mechanismus?
We'll come see you. We'll have a chance to hang out on whatever they call it, and we'll talk about the next.
Awesome. I will be a bit shameless right now and use this opportunity to plug Space Couch. We're doing it live from Mechanismus with Rex Arcana of FGSE to Aesthetic TV, Cold Kill, all the rest. And Mr. Curse Mackey from Curse Mackey and Evil Mothers and Pigface and all the rest. And so that'll be amazing. If you're going to be at Mechanismus Festival, I think most of the continental United States is going to be there, and just playing just in bands. It's this giant festival. You're going as Conformco, or just you're going to be there, or
Cyanotic.
Cyanotic.
Thursday.
Cool. Yep. We will definitely check out Cyanotic Thursday. And if you have any questions for the Ditch, ask them there, because we're pre-recording. But Trevor, I didn't mean to talk over you. You set me up wonderfully for the last thing I want to ask. I got a bit excited. tell me what's next for the ditch mode, or what you think might be next, or what your feeling is.
Well, I can say what I'd like to do.
Okay.
And the natural thing when you do a cool project like this is to go, oh, let's do it bigger with more people and more stuff and more money and whatever.
Only if their last names start with
my
H.
feeling is what we did was so cool that the three of us need to do something again. Not the same thing.
Okay.
Maybe the same percussion. I don't know.
Huh.
But let's do it again. And I know Jesse and Mike have some fancy plans to do some super secret stuff. And I've been gathering some percussion equipment and things like that. So maybe that can make it into a thing. But man, I'd like to just see another 40-minute, 40-second, very cool music
Hell
film.
yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we could even do it like a single if we wanted to put out a 5-minute video.
So you would
single.
Right. Oh, okay. So it would be Ditch and Son of the Ditch. I had to do it. Well, that's...
If anybody can tell what time in the ditch, there's an Easter egg, and you can actually see this guy right here.
Oh.
If you can find the minute that you see Mike in it, send me a message and I'll send you something fun.
You heard it here on Space Couch. This is our first guest-issued challenge. This is really exciting. We are on a rogue flight path out here in space. I'm going to bring this flying couch back on into the station shortly, but this is a really exciting sort of outro. So this is our first Space Couch challenge. Not mine. I don't want to take credit for it. The Ditch, by way of Hunt Heather Hawk. If you can find the minute marker at which our guest center appears, send that to our guest left as you see it on screen there. How should people do that, Jesse?
If you have my number,
okay,
don't call it. Just send
all
me
right.
something.
All right, find them on Facebook or whatever. We're all interconnected. Or message Space Couch, and we will give you his social security. So this is, it says the Ditch on the screen. That is the product. The project or band, as far as I know, or correct me if I'm using incorrect nomenclature, is Hunt Heather Hawk. We go check that out at Bandcamp, also Panhand, but mostly Bandcamp, also Amazon and all that for the actual product as we have it now. It's awesome. It's great. It's you don't know if you're watching an art film or something that time forgot or time has yet to remember. Oh shit, getting cosmic out here in Space Couch. Pardon the pun. Do you have any parting thoughts for us here?
If you
come see us and come say hi in Seattle.
Come say hi in Seattle. And Jesse?
I'm not playing. I'm hanging out.
Awesome. Oh, that'll be great.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, seeing what's going on. Jesse's playing Thursday night. Space Couch is there Thursday during the day.
Gossicles Wednesday.
TheDitch.panhand.com will take you to the Bandcamp page.
TheDitch.panhand.com. Check it out. And then you can talk to these guys about their product at Mechanismus, and it's going to be awesome, and you'll have value-added bonus, because I think that's really the strength of the scene, is everyone is sort of accessible, and what a cooler thing to talk about than the music film they just made. So this is Brian for Space Couch, for Jesse, Mike, Trevor, Hunt, Heather Hawk, for the Ditch, saying, call the spaceships to Davenport, prepare for Divanarchy, and interface with a couch in space. We got movie sign. Okay, so I let us talk over the end credits here, but oh man, super excited about Seattle now. I just like got in the door, so like I'm doing that. You know, I got that gig done, and now I can like concentrate on Seattle. So yeah, that's gonna be great.
Hey, Brian, since I have you.
Yes.
How do you know Mikey Hell?
I don't remember. We were playing Kinetic. It was called Kinetic 5.5.
Okay.
It was in Montreal.
Yep.
And I knew him just through like the scene and like playing Philadelphia, and he was like a DJ, and I'm like, okay, that's ripped bald dude DJ. Got it.
Yep.
And then at Kinetic, he's like, can I play guitar for Konami Code? I'm like, oh,
awesome.
Yeah, all right, yeah, okay. And then like he just did it, like it went great. And then we came through Philly, and he's like, "Can I play with you guys? I know the whole set." I'm like, "All right." And then we just did 2 shows with Silverwalks, and I'm a little bit allergic to guitar, at least heretofore. I'm such an electronics guy, but he just like ripped it up so much that we're gonna be doing more of that.
I lived in Philly for about 17 years.
Oh,
so
that's awesome.
Like,
okay.
I was in a bunch of different groups with Mikey, and
that's amazing.
It's like, get out of here.
Yeah, that is a weird thing.
He played an electric guitar in a group that we were in, but the thing was made out of metal, so